Welcome to Real Talk, Real Women. My name is Miriam Khalladi and today we have professional powerlifter and trainer Gracie Vanasse on the show. Welcome Gracie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
I'm
Thanks for
fine.
having me.
You're most welcome. Let's go back in time a bit. Tell me what happened during the summer of 2009.
2009, I was still living in Canada at the time, and I was uh, I was actually working out at a Curves at like a women's weight loss gym, because I had like gone through a breakup and gained some weight, and I didn't really know where to start. So, and I was really intimidated to go to a regular gym, so I went to a Curves, and that worked really good. So I trained there for about 6 months or a year, and then I decided to hire a personal trainer to go to like a regular gym. So I worked with a personal trainer for about 6 months, and there I saw like women lifting weights and muscular women, and I decided that I wanted to try powerlifting. So it wasn't long after that that I did my first competition.
Right. And on your side, you write that it worked because you worked it. Despite feeling a bit out of place, you decide to stick to the plan. You were determined. Tell me a little bit about your mindset back then. What drove you on an emotional level to go all in?
Well, I'm a recovering addict, Miriam. Right now I have about 8.5 years clean. At the time, I only had a few. I was like early in my recovery, and I was always like looking for an outlet of like something to help me fill that kind of void inside of me, without using drugs. And whenever I started training, I found that, like, I found it in training, especially in powerlifting, because it wasn't about how I looked. It wasn't about what anybody else was doing. It was just about me and doing the best that I could do and just doing better than I did last time. So it really drove me to like have a plan of action and just stick to it. And yeah, and it's just a really great outlet, I think, especially for like recovering addicts.
And at some point, you got intrigued by bodybuilding and started lifting heavier weights. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I was training with my trainer in the gym one day, and I saw a woman like doing like shoulder presses with I think they were like 40-pound dumbbells, and I'd never seen anything like that. And she was really beautiful. She had long blonde hair, and she was like lifting all this weight, and then I decided like I wanted to be like her, and I never even knew who she was. And so I started lifting more weights, and I started training with a man who was a power lifter, but I was like more into bodybuilding. And so he convinced me, to try powerlifting. And then I went to like look at just to watch my first meet. And she was there, this woman in the audience, with her boyfriend who was a powerlifter. And I told her, that like she inspired me to, get into lifting.
One thing led to another, and before you knew it, you met Barry Antonio and were at your first meet in a powerlifting gym. For those unfamiliar, can you explain what a meet is?
A meet is a competition for powerlifters. There's three main events: the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. So you add up the best number you can hit in all those three lifts, and you get 3 tries at each one to hit your biggest number. So you add up those 3 numbers, that gives you a total, and that's what powerlifting is. It's having a total. And so at the competition, it's like a full day of lifting. You start with the squat, you warm up, then you have your 3 attempts, and they're judged by 3 judges. And then same for bench press. You spend, like usually have to wait a couple hours for everybody else to squat. Then everybody does bench press, and then everybody deadlifts. And at the end of the day, you add up your best 3 lifts, and you have a total.
And that was right about 4 years ago. Can you explain how powerlifting as a sport works?
Well, there's a lot of different federations. So it's unlike Olympic weightlifting, the sport where you put the bar, like the weight overhead, where they, just have like a couple. And so it's easier to get on that international level. There's dozens and dozens of powerlifting federations. So like the sport is very diluted. And because of that, I don't think it'll ever get to the Olympics, because it's one of the sports that's not in the Olympics. So it's kind of sad in that way. Yeah, it's a very small community.
Right. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the limitations we put on ourselves based on what we see others do. Can you share your thinking around this?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things for people is to be training around people that are stronger than them, because you can only get to, a certain point like on your own, like, if you don't have anybody's footsteps to follow in. I was really lucky from an early stage in my lifting career. I was always training around women who were stronger than me, so hitting those kinds of weights, they were never like impossible, because like she did it, and it was just kind of like normal, or more normal, And so it's definitely like our body will do whatever our mind tells it to do. And whenever there's people training around you that are stronger, like if you're in a gym and ever like the strongest deadlift is 500 pounds, you know, it'll take like a long time before like somebody like starts really surpassing that. But if you have a lifter in there who deadlifts 600 pounds, all those people who deadlift 500 pounds, they're going to deadlift 600 pounds a lot faster than if that person wasn't there.
There's also another dimension to it, as you found powerlifting when you were clean for 4 years. How has it helped you since then?
It's become my entire life, you know, and like I started going to meetings to get clean. I joined Narcotics Anonymous, and I still go to meetings. Like that program really gave me a life, you know, and so it's continued to help me like to this day the way it did in the beginning, having that outlet and finding a community of people that wasn't just in Narcotics Anonymous, you know, because I didn't have like a community. All I knew was the people who I used to use with and then the people who I got clean with. And I wanted to have a life outside of that. So it's nice to have that balance of like my lifting community and my sober community, if you will.
Thank you so much for sharing.
No problem.
And what do you feel would be the most powerful lesson you could share around that overall journey? How have you grown the most?
I think I've grown the most mentally. Like as a woman, I've realized that I don't need a man, you know, to support me or to make my dreams come true, that I can do everything that I want to do on my own. And that like anything is possible, like as long as you have a plan of action. Yeah, just make a plan and believe in it. 100%. You have to believe in your training, believe in your coach, believe in your plan, and stick to it, and you'll see the results.
Right.
So the biggest lesson that I've learned is just having a plan of action and seeing it through.
For those who are still looking, what advice could you give them?
Join a 12-step group. I tried to get clean several times on my own without any luck. You know, I tried to get clean for years before I got involved in the 12 steps. And I think they're a great tool to have and that everybody could benefit from them, whether you're an addict or not. But being addicts, we're so lucky that we have them like so readily available to us. And like lifting is a great outlet, but really like I, got my life back together by implementing those tools.
When you started in powerlifting, you were often the only girl in the gym, but today you have female training partners, and I recall a quote of yours where you highlight that they push you harder than any coach has ever before. Tell me about that dynamic.
Yeah, often I've been like the only woman in the gym, not in the gym, but in powerlifting. And over the last couple of years, I've had the pleasure of training with two incredibly strong women. One, Susan Salazar, and the other, Leonetta Richardson. And Susan is, by pound for pound, the strongest woman in the world to compete without equipment. Having her there to push me, like they know how to get in my head. They know what lights my fire, and they're not afraid to turn that on, Whereas guys, like if I ask a guy to slap me on the back or something, they'll be like, ooh, like I can't hit her, These girls are ruthless. We know what we need each other, We know whenever we're going to miss a lift, like whenever the other person is good for it, like to not touch the bar if they're going to get it. Like we just know each other so well inside the gym like that. And the dynamic is unmatched. Yeah.
That's really great. And only about a year into your powerlifting journey, your arm pretty much snapped in half. Where did you find the strength and willpower to overcome this roadblock, both mentally and physically?
I'm not sure where I found it, but I guess it was just somewhere there inside of me, and it was hard. Like I was watching the other girls in the gym, continue to get stronger. And I had a great coach at the time, AJ. You met AJ. And he just made sure that I never stopped training, It was like never even an option to stop training. It was like, okay, well, how fast can I get back in the gym? And I only took off the time that I absolutely need to. I think I only took off like a week or two at the gym. So I just trained my healthy body parts during that time, and I continued to compete and to train. And it was just never an option for me to like just stop, I knew that injury was, part of the sport sometimes, and that if I was going to be in it, then I was going to be in it.
For women watching today who want to be strong like yourself and potentially get into powerlifting, what would be the best advice you could give them?
I would say to contact another woman in your area that does powerlifting, because there are women, and I coach people around the world. I have about 60 athletes right now, and they're from all different, like I have all throughout the States, Canada, Belgium, Malaysia, Sweden, Australia, all over the place. And there's women in your area who do powerlifting, most likely. So find them, find the powerlifting gym, find a woman, and look online and just register for your first competition. Even if you don't think that you're ready for it, everybody has to start somewhere. So you just go in, you get a total, and then you're really a powerlifter. Then it's official. Then you have the total, you can start building on it, but you just have to start.
That's
And
great.
once you do your first competition, you're hooked. So it's really a big selling point.
Tell me about your company, DCS Pack.
DCS Pack is my online business. We have lifters, like I said, from all around the world. So it's online programming. So I send them programming once a week, strength-specific programming. And we all train using the conjugate method by Louis Simmons. So right now we have about 40 women and about 20 men in it. It's really become like a family, especially for the women. We have like a private group on Facebook. So we post all of our training videos there, and me, along with some of the other advanced lifters, we critique and everything. But the women also can post like whatever's going on in their life, and it's become a really tight support group. And yeah, it's amazing. I try and have all the lifters compete, in the competitions together, so I can go and take care of them. And so right now we have a competition coming up I've got about 11 or 12 girls doing a women's only competition in Ohio in April. So there's going to be like a big group of us there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you want to get some more info on the DCS Pack, you can hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, anything like that, and I can email you directly and give you more info.
That's great, Gracie. Where can people go to learn more about you and connect with you online?
You can check out my website at graciev.com, or you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Gracie Vanasse.
Okay. And I will also make sure to put your links below this video.
Okay.
Is there anything else you would like to talk about today that you feel we've missed?
No, I would just give a shout out to my sponsor, unbreakablegear.com. I have a meet coming up this weekend in Ohio, and so they've really helped me this whole training cycle a lot, so I'm pretty grateful.
Good luck, Gracie, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you. And thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Khalladi. For more inspiration, check out our website at realtalkrealwomen.com.